Hi everyone, I'm Thomas Newen. I've just completed my studies at UNSW with a Masters of Teaching Secondary. I was a visual arts and TAS teacher, and I'm now working in the Catholic system. Okay, so I've been asked to create a video about my experiences doing the GTPA, which I finished at the end of term 1 of this year. And hopefully some of the advice will help you. Okay, so I've just written a couple of notes here. Question, what helped me the most? Okay, what helped me the most is we've all heard about cognitive load theory, so I chose to preempted it and got all my subjects out of the way. So PE2 and the GTPA would be the last thing that I'd have to submit. So I knew it was going to take a lot of brain capacity to get this done, and working in a school full time every day, I didn't want to do another subject. So I think freeing my brain capacity up just to focus on that helped a lot. And second thing that helped me was the GTPA drop-in sessions, which were held fortnightly after school on around 4:30. So it just helped get me started when I was a bit confused and motivated, got my questions answered, and yeah, I think Joanne ran our sessions, and it was also good to connect with other students that were doing it at the same time as myself. So just reconnecting with them, even online, see how their their PE2 was going, which was nice and motivating as well, and also hearing about their problems, which may or may not have been relevant to myself, but it was all good as well. Okay, what do I wish I had known at the start? Okay, so first thing to know, it is a significant amount of work. Mine was 68 pages. There is a page limit of 80 pages, and mine ended up to be about 13,000 words. So it is a big piece of work, but at the same time, what's important is think of it as a report. So you can write as a report style. It is, I guess, it's more of a report than an academic essay or an academic piece of writing, put it that way, right? So to simplify things, getting the mentality of the GTPA is simply what you plan on doing as a teacher and reporting back how it worked out and what worked and what adjustments were made along the way. So just think of it that way. So if you think of it that way, it's a bit more straightforward, and I think it's more achievable. So I mean, it's not a thesis, let's put it that way. Yeah. So just think of it as a report. That being said, I mean, you do need academic references that you need to be putting within the GTPA, but I personally did not read any additional papers in producing my GTPA, because I mean, I'm at the end of my degree and I've done enough subjects and I've written 50,000 words in essays already. So there was a lot that you can draw upon from your experiences and what you've learned over the courses in all your subject methods anyway, right? So and apply them as you see fit. I mean, we've already learned about behaviour management, explicit teaching, direct instruction, EALD and Indigenous students, students with special needs, literacy, numeracy, high potential, gifted and talented identification, individual education plans, action research, not to mention everything that you've learned in your methods classes. So there's a lot to draw upon. So I don't think you need to do extra research and papers into it. Like there's plenty to draw upon. Okay, pitfalls to avoid. I would say don't leave it till after you finished your PE2 and left the school to start your GTPA. Definitely don't do that. I mean, I think it's good to be writing your GTPA while you're at school. Like I wrote mine during my free periods, and you will have, you know, an opportunity to do that. I think at about 60% load for myself, it worked out to be about 22 to 24 periods a fortnight. And to put that in perspective, full-time teachers, they teach 44 periods. So yeah, you've got 20 odd periods that you're going to be free to be able to work on your GTPA, and I think it might come across more authentic while you're writing it at school. And what you definitely don't want to do is forget to collect all your student data after you've left the school, because you may be blocked from the system afterwards, don't have access to the school, or you may not even step on the school grounds anymore. So you want to ensure that you've collected all the data while you're there, okay? Also, what I think I wish I did, which I didn't, was after every lesson that I taught, I didn't do daily reflections or lesson reflections on all my teaching periods, which I do regret to some extent. So, because that is part of your data collecting, how you felt, and, you know, anecdotal data on how things went and what methods you tried and how things worked out. So just because I didn't do on every lesson where I did want to include it, it just meant I just had to, you know, think retrospectively when that sort of happened and what time-ish, and just having it, you know, then and there. And it doesn't need to be extensive for every lesson, maybe just a sentence or something like that. It just made it a little bit more easier, and, you know, it doesn't take a lot of time anyway. Okay, and I guess some general advice to include as well is choose interesting students that you want to write about for your sample students. So you need to choose 3 students. And choose students that are somewhat reliable, that they're going to be around most of the time, not taking a lot of absenteeisms, just because you need to collect data off them. And if they're not coming to class, you're limiting your opportunities to collect the data. But yeah, choose interesting students. For instance, my high achiever was an EALD student. So English was a second language. My just achieving student was a neurodiverse student with an IEP, and my underachieving student had several behaviour misconducts. So they were awarded numerous cautions, warnings. That just made it a little bit more interesting to write about as well. Okay, so that's all I'll suggest. I hope that's helpful to some of you. But perhaps if you want to reach out, maybe Joanne can share my details. I'm happy to answer other questions about the GTPA. But I think also what's more important, after the GTPA, I'm happy to give advice on the next step of your career, which is basically how to enter the workforce. Stuff like gaining approval to teach, obtaining your subject codes, interviews, resumes, because there's a lot of things that they don't teach you at uni that you kind of had to figure out on your own. Okay, but hope that helps. Bye.